All right, welcome you guys. We are going to be covering the upcoming astrological transits for the week of June 23rd to June 29th. So if you're interested, stick around and subscribe as well for similar content. Normally, this is a live stream recap. You guys are getting a recording today because by the time this video is live, I am frolicking in the woods as a fairy at a Renaissance fair. So comment a little fairy emoji down below to support me in that journey. So a couple of housekeeping things. I still have opened some readings up for the rest of June. So if you haven't gotten a natal chart reading and you're interested in getting your chart read by me, you can access that with the link below. A couple of other things. I have my newsletter, Letters from the 8th House, where you get the transits that I share here in a written format every Monday, so you can plan and prep for the week ahead. I am a teacher at heart, so I always like to make sure that everybody's getting what they need for the transit. So some people want to sit and listen, some people like it in a written format. So whatever fits, you can sign up using the link below. It's totally free. Other housekeeping things. I have a bunch of videos on here. So if you're interested in some of the transits, by the time this video will be out, I'll have a video on the sun moving into Cancer, so you can dive deeper into Cancer season for yourself, as well as a new moon in Gemini video will be coming out or is out, just depending on the timeline of things. And let me know down below, what's your rising sign? I would love to know who's watching my content, who's joining me here. I kind of wanted to put this in here as well. So this is me popping in at the end of the video, but I'm going to put it in a little bit early because as I move through the transits, I really want to hone in on the fact that Mercury is kind of our trailblazer right now, is kind of our leading energy that's sort of flying through the energy and really creating and carving a pathway for us to move, which means we might be communicating things before we've really grounded into the reality. But it's almost like this double-edged sword where you're speaking things into fruition, but also that foundation might not feel like it's there yet. So keep that in mind as we're moving ahead, as we're moving into into summer, essentially, as we've moved into summer and the rest of summer. It's kind of this trailblazing energy as Mercury is past the sun right now and creating space for us to actually speak our desires into existence. Awesome. With that being said, let's talk about the transits. You'll be seeing me look around. I'm going to be sharing my screen, showing you the chart, teaching, etc. as we go through this. So a quick rundown of this upcoming week. So Monday, June 23rd, the sun will square Neptune. And I did talk about that on my last live stream about the sun squaring Neptune and Saturn. So this energy is still going to be felt over the weekend into the Monday that we're talking about here. And then it's going to be ebbing. On Tuesday, June 24th, Mercury in Cancer will be squaring Chiron in Aries. Then the sun in Cancer is going to be conjunct Jupiter in Cancer. That's going to be great. Wednesday, June 25th, we're going to have a new moon in Cancer. On Thursday, June 26th, Mercury in Cancer is going to sextile Uranus in Taurus. And then the sun in Cancer is going to sextile Mars in Virgo. That's going to be great. And then Mercury enters Leo. Woo! Then Friday, June 27th into June 28th, we're going to be having Mercury in Leo, trine Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Again, since Saturn and Neptune are in close conjunction, these transits are going to be pretty combined. And then on Sunday, June 29th, Mercury in Leo is going to be opposing Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, so let's get started talking about that. All right, jumping to the transits here, we can see what is going on. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my little drawing tool. So on Monday, you can see we are looking at June 23rd here. And on Monday, June 23rd, we're going to have the sun squaring. Oh, that's a very big line. We'll keep it for now. So the sun is going to be squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So this is a continuation of the energy that I spoke on from my newsletter previously, as well as my live stream previously. So again, this is a continuation. So a lot of lingering energy coming through here. So I spoke to this transit of the sun squaring Saturn and Neptune in Aries as this sort of rebuilding energy. The sun in Cancer here is really bringing in this sort of energy of nurturing and support and needing and having your emotions met and nurtured, where Saturn and Neptune and Aries are kind of rebuilding the foundation as you take steps forward. So there's this sort of tension point of like, are you burning yourself out? Are you making sure your needs are met? And it was interesting. So by the way, if this is your first time tuning in to my astrology, it mixes with my channeling abilities, so things will come through. I really it dropped in as like a very clear download with Saturn and Aries, and as a native Saturn and Aries, and I know a good chunk of y'all who watch me are in that small period of 2 years time having Saturn and Aries. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So there's a lot of energy that comes up with Aries energy where it's like, I have to like complete everything now. But Saturn in Aries is teaching discipline around building sustainable energy to last you a long time and to build foundations that last. Okay. With Neptune and Aries here, it's really bringing in this sort of challenge of dissolving all the previous foundations because those haven't worked. So again, this square is the opportunity for us to start bringing in where we need to nurture ourselves, because there's going to be sort of tension points because squares create tension of like, are you gassing yourself 100% and then you have nothing to give later on in the day? So it's like really recognizing your pace or recognizing where you need to actually tap into your emotions and see how you're feeling and checking in. And this is creating a supportive system to actually operate that. In my newsletter, I really talked about it being like this expansion and contraction sort of energy. The last couple of weeks have really been playing on those themes of like expanding your threshold to hold energy, right? So that's going to be happening on Monday, June 23rd. This transit's going to start ebbing after that. It's reaching an exactitude early in the morning on June 23rd. So just keep that in mind. And let's go ahead and move on to... So what we've got going on Tuesday, June 24th is Mercury in Cancer squaring Chiron and Aries. So we've got a lot of squares going on with this Cancerian energy and Aries energy. So keep that in mind. So these themes of self versus feelings is really coming up. Now we have Mercury, our planet of communication, in the sign of Cancer. So this is really like wanting to express emotions. And Chiron has been hanging out in Aries for a while now and is really having us tune into our wounds around our identity and who am I? So this square, this 90-degree angle, is creating a tension point for us to like express our wounds. It's almost as though like communication is going to come forward of like where we're feeling identity crises or like who am I, especially in the relationship of our feelings, right? So as we look here on the chart, just this tension point, and this is really there's big feelings that are present here, and there can be triggers that come up around our identity, and Cancer connects to the home and home values. So there might be some tension points that come up, especially around like family and childhood communication triggers. Again, Mercury in Cancer. So it's like almost, I see like an invitation to look at how you used to communicate as a child or how communication showed up in your childhood and how you're breaking those patterns. Again, Chiron in Aries is witnessing the wound around your identity. So this really is, I always say transits are opportunities, right? So there's an opportunity to lean in closer to those tender spots that are coming up in a communication realm. So you can actually talk about your feelings. It might not feel fun, but it's definitely like lightening the load and actually like allowing your heart to express those almost, I'm feeling like identity crises kind of things coming up. You know, this really is fertile ground for new beginnings, especially around home, nourishment, and belongings. We have a lot of planets in Cancer. So like there's a lot of focus on the feelings, and Chiron here is really just being like, can you fully be yourself in your feelings? And so that's kind of that tension point of like, what's going to be repetitive patterns versus what actually is an authentic expression for you. Cool. All right. Also happening today on June 24th is the Sun and Jupiter are conjunct. This is a Jupiter cazimi. So anything conjunct the Sun is a cazimi. is a cool word. I like saying it. If you haven't said it, go ahead, say it. I'll give you a moment. Didn't that feel good? Yeah. So this is a really, really awesome energy that's happening here, especially as we move into the, like, you know, the new moon is going to be happening the day after this. And that's just going to really bring in some heart opening energy, right? So Mercury in Cancer, not Mercury. The sun in Cancer conjunct Jupiter. This is the expansion of the emotional realm, of actually like really dropping into that tender space in the heart. Big heart, big feelings, big expressions. There might be big emotional releases on this day where you're actually moving through big emotions, and it's not like it's scary or bad. It's just like expression. So like actually like sharing your heart. I'm thinking of like I just got the imagery of like somebody writing like, you know, do you like me? Check yes, check no. It's kind of like putting your heart out there in whatever realm this is happening for you. So this is a day where your capacity for nourishment, for being nurtured, and like a deep, deep intuitive knowing is going to be amplified. So this is a really good opportunity to hone in on those intuitive gifts that you have. This can also amplify, especially with the new moon coming up as well, is like emotional projection. You know, what's yours versus what's mine? What feelings are mine versus yours? So like really recognize where you might blur the lines. Like Jupiter again is really going to amplify this Cancer energy. It's almost giving more Piscean energy as I look at this, because it's amplifying the Cancer energy. So it's kind of breaking down those kind of crab shell walls that Cancer has, and is kind of just like, just be open and vulnerable, just take the shell off. And so it's kind of like when you're in that space, can you, you know, recognize what's yours and what's somebody else's? So really seeing that here, and it might actually be beneficial if you're able to tune into the emotions of others and really learning how to navigate that space. There's a lot of opportunity for emotional maturity here, of like actually like for some people don't actually have the ability to like sympathize in certain ways on like an emotional level, and I feel like this is going to be an invitation for those people to actually like really drop into sympathy. All right. Very beautiful. So on Wednesday, we have a new moon in Cancer, and let's move this back a couple hours so we get the exactitude of the new moon's going to be happening early morning, as you can see. Oh, yeah. So it's going to be at 4 degrees of Cancer. Oh, this is actually going to be very beautiful. I will have a new moon in Cancer video out on my YouTube. Fingers crossed by the time this goes out. Just depends on my timeline. I got a lot of things going on, but it will be here. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you can click the subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified when I post any of my videos and astrology content. So new moon in Cancer is happening. Again, new moons are all about new beginnings. Okay, about setting intentions for the next lunar cycle. That means the sun and the moon are conjunct. So this is a really good space to really plant seeds of nourishment, especially around emotional safety and like how you feel safe within your feelings. A lot of releasing family patterns. This is reparenting themes. I'll dive into it into my video, but this is going to be something that's coming up, and if you're getting the newsletter, you'll have a whole thing linked there, everything like that. So that's going to be happening. So keep that in mind for my witches that are watching that like to do new moon rituals. Just keep this in mind, put it on your calendar. It's probably already on your calendar. So that's going to be happening on Wednesday, June 25th, early in the morning. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling real official. I keep drawing. We're going to click this. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to Thursday, June 26th. We have Mercury. Where's Mercury here? Sextile. Uranus and Taurus. Okay, so Mercury is at 29 degrees of Cancer and Uranus is at 29 degrees of Taurus. This is a very... I was looking at this when I was writing out the transits that are happening this week. It's going to be a very interesting like turn of the tides kind of happening, and Mercury's been like trailblazing this energy. Mercury has been kind of like moving so quickly and just kind of like carving a path for us in our communication. It's almost as though, this is a little sidebar of just my interpretation of Mercury's movements, is Mercury's kind of been like trailblazing the way for us forward using communication. And it's almost as though your communication has been a little bit further along than like how you actually feel in the present moment. So it's like almost as though you're speaking things into existence. But the physical plane hasn't shown up yet in that realm where it's like you are speaking things into your reality, which is really cool. So this sextile here is a supportive energy. It's a 60-degree angle that's happening here. Now, final degree of Uranus and Taurus is very, very potent. It's kind of bringing in this last hurrah of our shaking up our foundations. It's kind of like the last things that need to be stripped away within our physical realm, within our values, within our material system. I've always been, ever since Uranus moved into Taurus, like a lot of money, like the way we perceive money has changed. It's been so interesting, like cryptocurrency, etc., like hardly paying with cash anymore. It's changed a lot of things, but that's something entirely different. I'll have a video on Uranus moving into Gemini posted here as well, so keep that in mind. Mercury in Cancer, final degrees of Cancer. This is really like sudden downloads that are coming in, especially within the like, this is such a cool energy because Cancer is all about our feelings. Taurus is all about our body. So it's like intuitive somatic knowing, like just kind of like trusting your body with the information that's coming up. And now remember, Mercury is moving really, really quick here. So it's going to be pretty fast. Like by the time this transit meets like its peak, like it's already going to be over. And that's kind of the energy of Uranus itself. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury and is all about sudden insights and flashes. So I feel like a lot of really quick body-based knowing is going to drop in with this transit specifically. All right, another transit that is happening on the 26th is the sun is going to be sextile Mars. Now, the sun represents our ego identity, how the part of our chart that is being illuminated right now, so what's happening currently in the sky, and then Mars is our will, our drive to get things done. So this sextile is a really positive energy flow, especially really, really supportive of this Mercury sextile Uranus as well, happening the same day. And again, this is going to be a very fleeting energy, and I'll show you in a second why I say that. So the sun sextile Mars in Virgo is really bringing in this, like, I really love this energy that's actually happening today. It's bringing in this sort of shift into bringing practical steps to allowing your body to speak to you. It's like really honing in on those routines. So again, Mars is your, vital energy, and the sun is, your self-expression. So this sextile is like actually doing things that are in alignment with the structures you're building for yourself is what is coming to mind here. Some other thoughts that are coming through with this as well is really just honing in on those practical steps forward to really make sure that you feel nurtured. You as an individual feel nurtured, and Jupiter is hanging out with the sun. So this is great energy. All right. So also happening here is watch Mercury here. Mercury is going to be shifting into Leo as we move forward. So Mercury moves into Leo. So again, like I said, prior to all this, Mercury is moving really, really quick, very quick. So as Mercury shifts into Leo, it's shifting up that communication realm into more of your voice wants to be heard, wants to be seen, wants to be recognized. If you are Mercury ruled, meaning you are a Gemini or Virgo ascendant, this is going to be potent for you as it shifts signs, your ruling planet moving. So noticing communication, taking maybe a bolder approach, a bit more boisterous, wants to be heard. So we are bringing more play also into our communication. So I always think, when I think of Leo, I think of theater. So I think of just kind of more performative energy and like stepping into a playful communication style. Then let's go ahead and shift here. On the 27th, this energy is going to kind of be a continuation. So Mercury that just moved into Leo. So again, we're going to be feeling this energy build as it shifts into Leo. So I see this transit that is coming up here on the 27th, and we're going to be feeling it into Sunday as well because of the fact that Neptune and Saturn are both together in Aries. And so trining Mercury in Leo. So this is going to be, again, a shorter, quick transit because of the fact how quickly Mercury is moving. So I want you to keep this in mind, but this is really creating a stability here. Trines are really supportive energies. That means they are both in the same element that's happening. So this is really, really stabilizing your voice. It feels like it's actually this foundation that you've been really working on with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, rebuilding your structure around yourself and your belief in yourself to get things done and to do things and to build a new life for yourself. This trine with Mercury here is creating like an opening for your voice. It's creating this sort of supportive portal is what it feels like to actually stabilize your truth with your voice with truth. So what you're saying is really coming from a place of like deep inner knowing of what you've been building. So Mercury also here brings in a bit more of the intellectual realm. So it's like what dream or vision really wants to be brought to the surface. This is kind of opening a doorway of actually even your mind touching deeper into what's been rebuilding for yourself. And it's nice because the moon's going to be transiting over this as well, which is going to be super cool. So really like speak things into existence. Mercury here, especially with this trining Neptune, is really bringing in this speaking. It's kind of like my little motto that I have for my brand, which is using words as magic, which is like really using the magic of Mercury here to reinforce what you're building for yourself. I almost see you like actually like campaigning yourself in a way where you're like, it's like Mercury's like your salesperson here, but in a way where like salespeople are really only good at sales if they believe in the product and you are the product. That's what's coming in with this. So like Mercury's really going to be like gassing you up here and really like being like, no, they're building something that is beautiful and amazing. Again, look at where Saturn and Neptune are in your chart. I have videos on that here. So if you want to watch those, you can go watch those to understand a little bit deeper how you're rebuilding foundations and shaping things. So check those out. This is we're going to be feeling this into Sunday because, you know, Mercury is going to move to that second degree of Leo and continue this trine with Neptune. And since they are in such close degrees, they're operating together, right? Right. Let's go ahead and jump ahead to Sunday. So again, we're going to feel this. You'll see Mercury already jumped to 2 degrees. And so into Sunday, Mercury is now opposing Pluto in Aquarius. So Mercury is kind of the leader of this week. Again, like I already said, it feels as though Mercury is trailblazing the path. It's almost as though we're speaking the things into existence before it's taking like physical form in our reality. It's really just like encouraging us to think big picture. Now, Mercury opposing Pluto in Aquarius retrograde. Okay, this is going to be an interesting feeling because Pluto retrograde is having us kind of go internal with our internal revolution of like unearthing old ways that we perceive our inner how does this want to be said? I'm really thinking of like it's rebooting our own internal programming. So this opposition creates kind of like a tension point between like Mercury that really wants to like speak things into existence, but Pluto retrograde is almost like, I don't know if like we're not ready to, the rebirth hasn't happened yet. So it's going to be this interesting back and forth because Mercury wants to be like, yeah, but again, in this fight, as far as energetic, who's going to win? It's Pluto. So it's ego versus collective. You know, Mercury in Leo is really pulling in that ego node. And so there's going to be kind of like truth bombs dropped, whether that's on an internal level where you're calling yourself out for your own bullshit. Like there's almost this like inner part that's like, no, like that's not true anymore. So calling the ego out. potent realizations are surfacing with this transit here. And again, it's quick. It's quick. Mercury's moving quick. So it's going to be like things come up, things like are butting heads internally. And, you know, again, with any transit, I want to remind you, if you have things within the same degree, so again, pull out your chart, look at it in comparison to what we're looking at here. That's why I'm showing you guys the chart. So if you have anything at 3 degrees of Leo or Aquarius or other fixed signs, which would be Taurus. So if you have something at 3 degrees of Taurus or 3 degrees of Scorpio, this is going to be personally affecting you. You're already going through the personal effect of Pluto squaring or opposing those things. So you're already in the midst of that transformation. If it is not personally affecting you, it's going to be affecting people around you or the collective at whole. So you're going to witness these things. You might see things on media where, like, you know, truth, and a freaking hawk just cawed. So again, things outside of yourself being said or spoken out into the world. So, you know, this is sort of like a truth or dare kind of moment. This transit, it's kind of like, you know, what are you unwilling to say or unwilling to hear? So with that truth and dare mode, it's kind of like somebody actually challenging you to do something, and or you're challenging others to do things. I think of the fact of like how I'm getting the imagery of like how ostriches hide, and they'll like just tuck their head into the dirt and pretend nothing's happening around them. With this transit, we can't do that because the truth's going to be revealed, and it's like you can't hide from it. You might want to try, but it's not really going to happen there. So yeah, my goodness, this week is potent. All right, so if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, you can use the link below to sign up, and you will get everything that I shared here in a written format straight to your inbox on Monday. It will be like your little map and guide point for the week ahead. Okay. So thank you. I appreciate you guys. And don't forget to subscribe below if you enjoyed the content here. You also can leave a comment. Let me know how this is landing for you as you move through the week. And some other things, I will have more videos coming out this week. So just hit the bell as well to get notified when all of that comes out. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you enjoy your week, and I look forward to connecting to you on my live stream. I stream every Sunday at 4 p.m. PST on Twitch, so you can join me there next time and come with all your questions and inquiries about astrology. This is a really great space to actually like deeply dive into astrology with somebody who is obsessed with astrology. So I would love to see you there on Twitch. All right, I'll see you guys.